A railway's main line is its lifeline, the primary route upon which trains travel, delivering goods and passengers in a timely manner. On Sodor, the main line connects a number of towns and cities. From end to end, beginning at Alsborough, the line goes on to Lower Tidmouth, then Tidmouth, Marston Heights, Carlton, Knapford, Lower Knapford, Elsbridge, Crosby, Wellsworth, Marin, Kildane, Crovan's Gate, and then Vickerstown, beyond which lies the lift bridge that links Sodor to the mainland, the first station of which is Barrow-in-Furness. I won't say that every community that has ever prospered on Sodor has done so because of its railways, given that's not entirely true, but those that have, I like to think we had a helping hand in it. Last time, I likened the main line to the roads because of its shared qualities, but there are obviously a great many differences too. For starters, there is no such thing as a shortcut. We engines can only go where the rails do. So, if the line is ever blocked by the likes of a fallen tree or an accident, extensive delays will often follow, as we can hardly find an alternate way around. Douglas's hold-up, for instance, was the result of a collision near Crosby. One engine that travelled the main line extensively for a time was Eric, given that he had to act as Henry's replacement while he was at the works. Our number 12 worked himself hard, delivering countless goods trains. Mr. Starr kept a close eye on him during this period. There was little doubt in my mind, or anyone else's, that our director would have sent him packing if he fouled up again. Fortunately, our director gave up on surveying Eric the day Henry's repairs were completed.
Ah, Henry, how are you? Just fine, sir. These new wheels feel great. I can't wait to run them in. Good, because I have a job for you. You'll be heading to Barrow to pick up some new coaches. New coaches, sir? Yes. Head office has finally approved my request to replace our current fleet of express stock. I want you to pick them up and deliver them to Knapford. Is something wrong, Henry? Sir, don't you remember what happened the last time I tried taking coaches? Vividly. But I trust you've learned from that mistake? Yes, sir. Good. Then on your way and be quick about it. Yes, sir.
Alright, that's the last of them. Now all I need is Henry.
Hello, Percy.
Ah, Henry, how are you?
Thrilled to be out of the works. Yourself?
Can't complain.
So, these are the new coaches then? Pardon my ignorance, but, I don't see any difference between them and the old ones.
What did you expect?
Something more noticeable, I guess.
Well, these are fresh off the assembly line, meaning all new upholstery and seating for the passengers, and having spent the last 2 hours shunting them, I can tell you they handle much better than the old ones.
Speaking of which, what happened to the old ones?
They were scrapped. Gordon's handling the last of them right now.
How's he taking it?
See for yourself. Oh, such a shame, such a shame. What an end for such a fine calibre of carriage.
Hello, Gordon.
Oh, Henry, what are you doing here?
Good to see you too.
Yes. Good to see you. How are you feeling and all that? Now, what are you doing here?
Mr. Starr asked me to pick up these new coaches.
You? After what happened last time? What happened last time?
Well...
Alright, Henry, now make sure to approach the coaches very slowly.
Never you fear, Gordon. I got this. Uh-oh.
You imbecile! I said slowly! We were picking the wreckage off the tracks for a month after that.
Oh, you were not. Stop being overdramatic. At any case, Mr. Starr feels I'm up to the task, and so should you.
I suppose. At any case, I don't have time to debate this. If you are to convey these coaches to Knapford, Henry, please make sure they arrive in one piece and not several. Sometimes the engine is too big for his buffers.
What do you mean, sometimes? I'm not worried.
So you shouldn't. You'll do fine.
Thanks. Well, I best make a start. Just give me a moment to get turned around and I'll be on my way.
All set, Henry?
Just about. You know, these coaches aren't too heavy. I could probably take the lot of them to Knapford in one trip.
One trip? Are you sure?
It would save a lot of time. You know how Mr. Starr values efficiency.
Huh, good point.
Alright, let's do this. I'll start marshalling them and...
Wait! Hold up a moment! Oh, thank goodness I got here before you left.
Crikey, James, the way you were tearing along the lines like that, I thought your brake blocks were on fire again.
Cool, typical. I thrashed my wheels to get here, and you offer jokes instead of compliments.
What have I got to compliment you for?
For bringing you these new coaches, of course.
What are you on about, James?
Yes, James, what are you on about? We already have our express coaches. They're right there. I'm afraid not. These coaches I've got here are the new ones. Those ones are slated for scrap.
What? How did that happen?
Some fool at head office got the shipping orders mixed up and listed those ones for delivery here. Are you sure they're meant to be scrap, James? They handle so well. That's because their axles were greased up beforehand so they could be delivered for scrap. You mean I've spent the last 2 hours shunting these coaches for nothing? I wish I could say something reaffirming, Percy, but I can't. Don't fret. I'm told the individual responsible will be disciplined.
Good to hear. In light of this revelation,
Thank you, James. It could have been a disaster taking our passengers in unsafe coaches. Unsafe would have been an understatement. When they rattled off the list of problems with these coaches, I thought they were having me on. Well, Henry, you wanted a more noticeable difference between the coaches, and now you have it. The passengers also took notice of the new coaches, praising their smart exterior and lauding their comfortable interior. Naturally, in response to this, the middies upgrade their express coaches too. The nearer we came to September 15 and Jennifer Kindly's wedding, the busier we got. We were inundated with guests who ran the gamut from friends and family to politicians and even nobility. The innumerable guests were delivered to Elsbridge, where the wedding was to take place. On September 12, I was at Barrow collecting another lot of wedding guests and was about to depart when the station master informed me we had a latecomer. I was forced to wait for what felt like hours before the young clergyman arrived, practically diving onto my train. I left a few minutes behind schedule. This did irritate me, as I never like being late, and since I had to take this train to Elsbridge, you can be sure Jeffries was there, just waiting to give me a tongue lashing.
Edward, you're late.
Yes, Jeffries, I'm fully aware of this.
That's Station Master Jeffries.
Whatever.
Don't give me attitude, Edward. Because of your tardiness, you have caused confusion and delay for the entire main line.
Confusion and delay? What sort of nonsense is that?
That nonsense is the mantra for professionalism, something an old lump of iron like you should have learned from by now.
Careful, Jeffries. I don't respond well to personal abuse.
That's Station Master. Excuse me. I'll deal with you later. Yes, sir. How may I help you? I couldn't help but overhear what you were saying, and I felt you should know the reason this engine is late is because of me. You, sir? Yes. I overslept in my hotel room and was slow in getting to the station. This engine was kind enough to wait for me, and because he was so accommodating, I will be able to perform my duties here on Sodor, which I am immensely grateful for. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Oh, well, in light of this, Edward, good work. Keep it up. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Goodness, I know the Bible forbids one man to pass judgment on another, but is he always like that? No, sir. Some days he's really vile.
My word.
Thank you for coming to my defense. I really appreciate it.
All I did was tell the truth. In my line of work, that is essential.
So you've come to Sodor for work, have you?
Yes, I'm to preside over Jennifer Kindly's wedding.
Well, in that case, I'm glad I waited for you, Vicar.
Actually, it's Reverend.
Oh, I beg your pardon, sir.
There's no need to be so formal. Edward, was it?
Yes, that's it.
Well, like I said, no need to be so formal. I'm Wilbert Audrey. Please call me Wilbert.
A pleasure to meet you, Wilbert. Is something wrong?
Forgive me, I don't mean to stare. It's just that I grew up on a farm next to some train lines. I saw all manner of goods engines at all manner of hours during the day and night. It's just that none of them were, well, like you.
No non-faceless engines where you come from, then?
Sadly, no. I've heard about them all my life, but have never actually seen one until now. Yours is a remarkable category of engine.
In that case, you'll love it here on Sodor, Wilbert. Every engine here is non-faceless, complete with names and everything that goes with it.
I think you're right, Edward. I shall enjoy my time here on Sodor.
And a good time was had by all on September 15, 1936, when Jennifer Kindly joined hands with her fiancé in what was probably the first trackside wedding ever held on Sodor. This unconventional ceremony allowed several of us engines to attend, and when it came time for the bride and groom to kiss, many a tear was shed, not least among our own ranks. When the ceremony was done, Thomas was granted the privilege of taking away the newlyweds. Up till that point, it was the proudest moment of our number one's life. Between 1936 and 1939, Spain was ravaged by a vicious civil war as nationalist and republican forces fought one another for control of the nation. I can remember this time well, for hardly a week went by without some newspaper article describing this battle or that atrocity. The bloodshed was horrific enough, but the stories about the number of refugees being created by the conflict made it especially depressing. 1937 was a very bloody year in that war, so much so that the people finally began fleeing the nation in droves. Thankfully, there were many nations willing to take them in, including Britain. On May 23rd of that year, a little under 4,000 refugees arrived at Southampton docks, several hundred of whom were redirected to Sodor as the camps built to house them quickly filled up.
Escucha mi familia, yo he estado esperando durante horas de...
Sir, I'm sorry, but I don't understand you.
Donald, you want these coaches here?
Sir, please.
Donald, what do you want, Diesel? Can't you see I'm busy? I was arguing with a refugee counters being busy because I'm wrestling through a language barrier. Why don't you get someone who can speak Spanish then? Oh, now there's an idea. Why didn't I think of that? Oh wait, I did, and I couldn't find anyone. If you're done making worthless suggestions, Diesel, kindly push off. Grrr.
Now back to international diplomacy.
Feeling a bit put out, Diesel? Too right I am. Donald takes it out on me just because he can't handle his job. It's the way of the world, Diesel. The abused are always kicked downwards. They couldn't handle this lot, so they fobbed them off on us. We've been given a job to do, but no instructions on how to do it properly. I don't get why this lot had to come here. Why couldn't it have been Napford Harbour? Why couldn't the nor'easters have been lumbered with them? Did someone mention the nor'easters? Oh, look here, Adam. A shipment of wood has built up steam and escaped from the lumberyard. You belong in a museum, Toby, not on the rails. If I were to be in the exhibition on railway antiques, you would best be prepared to join me, Adam. You're not much younger than I am. At least I'm not made of a material that can get eaten by termites. If you're so convinced of your own superiority, perhaps I had best be on my way. Why are you here at all? To give you lot a hand with the refugees. And how are you going to do that?
Watch and learn.
This ought to be good. You're right. Come on, let's go watch.
Ugh, I give up. Afternoon, Donald. Toby, what are you doing here?
Buenas tardes, señores y señores, y bienvenidos a la isla de Sodor. Me disculpo por haber hecho esperar y gracias por su paciencia.
I don't believe what I'm hearing.
En algunos momentos los porteros sirven a través de ayudar con el equipo que pueda tener. Por favor, tened sus pasaportes y cualquier otros documentos listos para su inspección.
Oh, Diesel, what? Could you shunt those coaches onto this line after I move these trucks, please? Why should I? Forget it, Diesel. For his help, he deserves whatever he asks for. So get to it. Grrr! They were not happy. They'll get over it. They'll never say so, but they're very thankful for your efforts, Toby. Which begs the obvious question, where did you learn Spanish? The manager of my old railway, his wife was Spanish. She taught me everything she knew about the language, and we used to speak to one another only in Spanish. That was until she passed away. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear. So was everyone else. Her death took a heavy toll on my manager, which ultimately led to the closure of my line. He just couldn't concentrate after that. To be honest, it's been so many years since I've spoken a word of Spanish, I was extremely nervous when asked to do so. Well, on behalf of the LMS, thank you for trying. It was a big help. No worries, Donald. Of course, the middies didn't bear the full responsibility of their task alone. In a rare occurrence, we actually cooperated with them to resettle the refugees throughout the island. This was obviously done so no one community was overburdened by a sudden increase to its population. I'm pleased to say they received a warm welcome at every town and city along the main line. About a fortnight or so after this operation began, Thomas was to take a small group of refugees to Lakeside Halt, a small town that sits along what was formerly the main line for the Elsbridge and Knapford Railway, a stretch of track nowadays known as the Loop. Setting out and arriving on time, among the 24 or so refugees was a very pregnant woman. That was when things turned interesting. Madam, are you alright?
Mi baby está negando.
I'm sorry, I don't... Oh! Pete, what's going on back there? It's one of the refugees. She's going into labour. What? Really? Yes, we need to get to a hospital right away. The nearest one's at Elsbridge. At this time of day, it'll take at least half an hour for an ambulance to get here. Then we load her back on board and take her to the station. What are you thinking? Pete, you telephone the hospital and tell them I'll meet one of their ambulances at Elsbridge. Brilliant! After helping the woman and her husband back into Clarabelle, Thomas's guard telephoned the hospital while our number one took off down the loop, pushing himself to his maximum speed. Sorry, Gordon, coming through. What is the meaning of not now, Gordon? Well, I never. Easy on there, Thomas. You keep thrashing yourself like this and you'll... Burst a valve. Oh, bother! Of all the times for this to happen, now what? I could run back and ask Gordon to give us a push. Oh, he'll love that. Never mind. Eric, bless my smokebox, you're here. Thomas, what's wrong? I've got a woman who's in labour on board my train and I've burst a valve. I need you to take me to Elsbridge where an ambulance will be waiting. Eric, did you hear what I said? I'm sorry, Thomas, but I can't. What do you mean can't? I have to pick up a goods train at Carlton. So? It's a real important train, Thomas, and if I don't pick it up, Mr. Starr's going to sack me. Eric, do you hear yourself? Did you hear me? There's a woman on my train who's about to have a baby and I can't blooming move. You're right, Thomas. This is an emergency. If Mr. Starr has a problem with that, then I don't want to work for him. Good on you, mate. Now, can you give me a pull? No worries. Be right back. Goodness, the way you two came shooting in, I would have sworn it was Gordon. We have an emergency, Toby. Where's the... Oi. What's going on? Thomas, you're not meant to be here. Not now, Jeffries. Where's the... That's station master. I don't have time for that. Where's the ambulance? Wait, you were responsible for that? Yes. Where is it? I sent it away. You what? That ambulance was meant for the pregnant woman on my train. You idiot, Jeffries. How dare you talk to me like that? And how was I to know? I wasn't told. I'm the station master here, and I need to be informed. A dustbin would be a better station master than you. Right, that's it. I've had enough. I'm going to report you all for disrespecting a railway official. Just you try it, Jeffries. Yeah, we'll take you on and... Es un nino. What's he saying? It's a boy. That's great. Tell him congratulations. Felicidades, señor. ¿Cuáles son tus nombres? What did he say? He wants to know your names. What for? Quiero nombrar a mi hijo después de cueros. Oh, he wants to name his son after you two. Thomas. Eric. Entonces mi hijo será llamado Thomas Eric Galindez. Then my son shall be called Thomas Eric Galindez. My, what remarkable engines. The ambulance soon returned to take the Galindez family to the hospital. After that, their new life began on Sodor. The husband got a job at the Lower Knapford oil depot where he worked tirelessly to provide for his family. Eventually, he was able to buy a house for them next to the main line, and little Thomas, or Tommy, was a constant sight along the trackside. We were proud to watch him grow over the following years, even more so after he joined the railway, working his way through the ranks to become a fireman and then my driver. Wilbert Audrey was another frequent sight on Sodor over the next several years. He took a keen interest in its railways and the engines who worked them. Little did we realise just how much of an impact that soft-spoken clergyman would have on our lives. But that's a story for another day. Wilbert Audrey was born on June 15, 1911. In 1936, he was ordained into the priesthood as a reverend. That same year, he came to Sodor for the first time to minister Jennifer Kindley's wedding. As it turns out, both the Audreys and the Kindleys were old family friends. This was the first of many visits the good reverend would make to the island over the next several years, and every time he came to Sodor, he would either watch us in action or speak to us at length. These visits, he would later say, were what inspired him to write the Railway series, a massively successful collection of children's books based off the engines of Sodor. These books are undoubtedly the main reason why the island is the major tourist attraction it is today. Over the decades, these legions of fans have asked a great many questions of us. By far and away the most common query is, why do we have faces when most trains don't? Unfortunately, we've never been able to answer that, as we simply don't know, and neither has anyone else. It's seemingly a chance occurrence that happens during the construction of a vehicle. I say vehicle in that this randomness also extends to cars, lorries, and even ships. We are characterized as non-faceless vehicles, and the one thing we all have in common is the ability to move on our own. So why do we have drivers then? Common sense. While we take great pride in being an extreme minority of machines, we don't deny we are just that, machines, meaning we accept that we are prone to breakdowns, which is why our crews are so essential. And as we are sentient, a number of laws exist giving us certain rights. For starters, a non-faceless vehicle can be sold, but said vehicle must consent to the sale first. By far the most important protection afforded to us is we cannot be scrapped. I've always found that to be a rather dark and morbid aspect of the Reverend's books. I mean, we are capable of feeling pain, and the idea we can be cut up and thrown into a furnace while we're still alive? I get chills in my smokebox every time I think about it. Thankfully, such an atrocity does not exist in the real world, and yet, scrap is exactly the topic of today's story. During the First World War, in response to a severe shortage of raw materials, scrap metal was a precious resource. Throughout the 4-year conflict, trainloads of rusted wheels and broken metal were delivered to smelting plants, where they were melted down and converted into weapons and other instruments of war. And during the Depression, scavengers were a constant sight as they scrounged for metals they could sell to make ends meet. Of course, there were organised scrapping operations, like the one that would commence in Knapford Harbour in October of 1937. Hello, Percy. What have you got there? Oh, just a few trucks for Henry's next train. Would that be his usual fish deliveries? Yes. Have you heard what the workmen are calling it? No, I haven't. What is it? The Flying Kipper. The Flying Kipper? That's very clever. I like it. So does Henry. He says it sounds that much better than fish train. He's right. What's wrong, Percy? Oh, nothing. I'm just wondering about that sign over there. Why? You want to test your luck by going past it? Of course not! What kind of a silly engine would go past a danger sign? I'm just teasing, Percy. What's bothering you about it? Not the sign, it's just... Obviously it's got to do with that sunken pier, but I've always wanted to know what happened to it. Simple, the pylon sunk into the seabed while the harbour was being constructed. Why wasn't it fixed? The project was on a tight budget and there were no funds available to effect repairs. My guess is that's the reason why it's never been fixed since, and I've been made to suffer because of their penny pinching. Ah, 10 cents! How are you, old boy? I'm fine, Edward. Hi, Percy. Hello, 10 cents. What do you mean you've been made to suffer for it? That pier's in a very awkward spot. Its presence limits the size of the ships that can be berthed in this part of the harbour, and every time I bring one in or out, I have to make sure I don't crash into it. I'll tell you what, this place would get a lot more business if they just tore it up. Funny you should say that, 10 cents. There's a rumour going around the harbour master and Mr. Starr are in talks about getting rid of it. Are you serious? That'd be great. I hate to put a damper on your enthusiasm, 10 cents, but you shouldn't get your hopes up too much in case nothing comes of it. I suppose. Still, it'd be great if that eyesore is done away with. I'm pleased to say that rumour was true. A deal was arranged that not only included tearing up the old pier, but giving the harbour itself a complete overhaul. Eric was put in charge of this operation, our director finally taking him off probation following the Galindez incident. After the old pier was torn up, extra berths were built in place to accommodate for more ships, which, as Tencent predicted, saw a substantial increase in business for the harbour. The old and rusted infrastructure scattered about the place was then removed. During this phase of the project, Eric and I delivered long trains of rusted metal to the Barrow and Finesse scrapyard on the mainland, as the one near Wellsworth lacked the capacity and the facilities for such a job. One of these deliveries I was most excited to make, as it meant I would get to see an old friend of mine who had just returned from a lengthy overhaul, Whiff, who served as both the scrapyard's engine and Barrow's station pilot. I hadn't seen him in a good while and was thrilled when I pulled in. Well, well, as I sizzle in steam. Hello, Edward. Long time no see. Hello, Whiff. Good to see you too. And hurrah for that devilish pun. So you noticed then? It'd be pretty hard not to notice you wearing glasses, old boy. I'll forgo asking why, since the obvious answer is that you need them, and instead ask how. I didn't think they made spectacles that size. They don't. They were custom made from a company in the United States. To be honest, I wasn't so sure I was going to get them, since apparently making them was very expensive. Well, your manager clearly thought the investment was worth it, and he was right. Ah, thanks, Edward. I suppose we should get down to business. Is this another lot from the harbour? Indeed. Where do you want it? Just leave it there. All the sidings are pretty full at the moment, so I'll have to get creative if I want to shunt those trucks. Well, I'll get out of your way then. Good seeing you, Whiff, and welcome back. Cheers, Edward. I'm sorry to say this pleasant encounter was offset by a most unexpected surprise that waited for me towards the rear of the yard. As I approached the turntable there, I was stunned to find another old friend of mine present. Oh, hello, Edward. Trevor? What are you doing here? Why do you look so miserable? It's been a rough couple of days. My owner passed away on Tuesday. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear. He was such a good man. He treated me so well. That doesn't explain what you're doing here. I'm being stored here until the auction. What auction? The bank is foreclosing on my farm, so I'm to be sold to cover the loss. Sold? So, we might never see each other again? Very possible. Oh, well, I don't know what to say, Trevor. I do. If we don't see each other again, it was a pleasure knowing you, Edward. The pleasure was all mine, dear friend. It was a struggle for me to keep smiling as I was turned around, and harder still as I left. Once I was beyond Trevor's sight, I allowed myself to frown. Needless to say, I felt miserable leaving the yard. I had known Trevor since my days on the Furness Railway, and the idea I might never see him again was unbearable. It was also something I refused to accept, and I began racking my brain to think of a way to help him. I was still pondering about the next morning. I was so deep in thought that I didn't realise Henry had returned from delivering the flying kipper. You know, it's absolutely extraordinary. Every day I see something new on this island. Today it is the sight of a green whale. Oh, aye, very funny, Gordon. Well, how else do you explain the smell? The flying kipper? Yes, well done, Eric. Honestly, Henry, how can you allow yourself to smell so rank? I mean, we Norrises have a reputation to maintain, and you're letting the side down. Easy for you to say. All you do is gallivant about the island with your precious express. If you did half the work I did, you might be hard-pressed finding time to bathe. Excuse me, are you saying I'm lazy? I'm saying, don't judge until you've pulled a real train. The express is a real train. It is a standard of excellence against which the LNER is measured. Not that you would ever understand that. The first time you tried taking the express was a disaster. All right, cut the arguments. At least one engine has already been hard at work. Thank you, sir. Don't go denigrating the express, Henry. It is an important component of our public image, you see, and don't act so smug about it, Gordon, especially since your express may soon be permanently complemented with trucks. Excuse me, sir. Head office wants us to trial the viability of mixed trains in order to better service our clients. If this pans out, pretty soon all of you will be taking coaches and trucks on the same train. Pah! What a ridiculous idea. Gordon, why do I always have an argument with you whenever I give you an assignment that doesn't involve coaches? You shouldn't, sir. I apologize. That's better. Now, before handing out today's assignments, Mr. Zorro wanted me to remind everyone that his engines are carrying out the relocation of the Wellsworth scrapyard to their new site at Kildane.
Yeah, whatever. Oh, talk about twisting the knife.
I know, I'm sure this reminder wasn't just out of courtesy. Still, it is a reality we'll have to deal with, so allow yourselves extra time to accommodate for possible delays. Gordon, your express to the mainland will actually be our first mixed train. When you reach Barrow, Whiff will have a goods train that I need you to take to Islesborough. I trust that won't be a problem. No, sir. Good. James, you'll be taking stone from the quarry to Elsbridge Harbour. Yes, sir.
Toby, Napford Harbour for you. 10 cents is bringing in a number of ships, so I need you to work your magic to keep the trucks in order. No worries, sir. What about me, sir? You'll be helping Thomas up at the mines on the Farquhar branch, where they're finally strengthening the shafts that run beneath the tracks. About time. Edward, I need you. Edward?
Oh, sorry, sir. I'm listening.
I suspect this is the first time all morning that you have. Is something wrong?
Oh, I ran into Trevor at Barrow yesterday, sir. His owner died and he's to be sold, and I'm just a little upset that I might never see him again.
I see.
Is there anything we can do about it, sir?
No, Percy.
Why not?
Because what use does a railway possibly have for a traction engine? It would be irresponsible of me to waste funds on such a purchase. No disrespect to Trevor, Edward.
I understand, sir. I wasn't even going to ask if we could do anything.
I'm sorry about your friend, but I need you to focus, especially since yours is the most important job of the day. You'll be making coal runs. Practically every depot is in need of a refuel, so you'll be hard-pressed to keep your schedule.
I'm up for it, sir.
Good. Then on your way.
Mr. Starr was right regarding the reasons why we couldn't help Trevor, but that didn't make things better for me. Fortunately, I was kept thoroughly distracted that day, as I was hard-pressed to keep to my schedules, and I wouldn't be the only one to have a rough one of it. A points failure at Napford trapped Toby in a siding, forcing James to cover his duties. Gordon's mixed train trial to Barrow proved to be somewhat of a disappointment, as the addition of trucks to coaches made the journey that much slower and more uncomfortable for the passengers. Thomas and Percy would have the toughest time of it, however, as our number 6 discovered when he arrived at Toy Wreck Mines.
We'll be right back. On Nick.
Hi, Bill.
Now back to the show. On Nick.
Oh no! Thomas! What happened? Some silly twit moved the danger sign and the lines gave out from under me when I passed over 'em. Are you alright? I'll be better when I get out of this hole. Has anyone called Mickey? Yeah, but he's stuck at Tidmouth thanks to a fallen tree. Alright, I'll go get a rope and a winch. Be right back. I am never going to live this down. As Mr. Starr mentioned, the middies have been given the contract to relocate the Wellsworth scrapyard to their new site at Kildane, a task that lasted several months. There were a number of delays throughout this time and many arguments as the middies occupied most of the sidings at Wellsworth. On this day, there was yet another squabble between Henry, Eric, Adam and Lily.
Look, I have to get this load of petrol to the mainland and I need to get there first.
We don't care where you have to take your trucks. We have our own work to worry about.
Too right. Anyway, the schedule's clear. We get to go first, so that's what we're gonna do. Not if he sets out first.
Maybe we should let them go, Adam. After all, 3 against 1 just doesn't seem fair.
3? But there's 2 of you and 2 of us.
You don't do much except get in the way and cause problems, Eric, so we count you on our side. Gets in the way and causes problems?
Hey, sounds like a middy to me. No one's talking to you, old square wheels.
What? What did you call me? Hey, what's going on here? These two are trying to impede us in our duties.
We are not.
Do you even know what impede means?
Enough! I don't care what you're arguing about, but the schedule's clear. Adam and Lily, you're meant to have left already, so hop to it. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, those middies really boil me up sometimes.
I wouldn't worry about it, Eric. Did you hear the noises Adam was making? He didn't sound too good.
Yeah? So what?
I heard he's overdue for maintenance.
So what? Oh, I get it. You think he'll overdo it and break down?
An engine as arrogant as he is? Most definitely.
However, the middy's number 3 would not break down. To his credit, he persevered, struggling up and over Gordon's Hill. He and Lily soon reached the scrapyard. After dropping off her trucks, Lily picked up a load meant for the mainland. Her smooth run would turn rough as she neared Crovan's Gate, as one of the cables tying down the load in one of her trucks began to weaken, eventually snapping as she passed beneath the bridge. Oh, bother! Honestly, one little tiff with Mr. Starr and he makes me pay for it at every turn. That man can certainly hold a grudge. I say, Lily, are you having a spot of bother there? I'm fine, thank you, Gordon. Can I be of assistance? Yeah, you can push off. Typical middy. A civilized gesture is made and you spit on it. Why don't you go get stuck on another hill? As the 2 engines argued, a situation was developing. The pipes had struck a weak point in the bridge. Coupled with the added weight of the broken down bus that was on it, cracks quickly began to appear in the brickwork. Nobody noticed this except Skarloey, who happened to be in the right place at the right time.
My goodness! Lily, look out! What? Look out for what? The bridge! I think it's going to collapse! Good grief, so do I! Quick, move!
Lily did just that, shooting out of the way just as the bridge began to bend. It did so because it had an iron framework. If it was solid brick, it might have collapsed already.
Oh no! I know that whistle! It's Reginald!
From down the line, the Mies Express engine was fast approaching. Not only was he travelling at top speed, he had been signalled through, so there was no way of stopping him. With the bridge poised to collapse at any moment, a disaster seemed inevitable.
Bust my buffers! What are we going to do? I might have an idea. If both sides of the bridge can be propped up, it might hold long enough for Reginald to get under. And how are we going to do that? The arches sag quite a bit. Maybe you two can wedge your trucks underneath. That would require passing under that sagging arch to do so. It's too dangerous. Well, for my friend, I'm willing to take the risk. Oh, I have a very bad feeling about this. What the? Don't stop, Reginald! Ha ha! It worked! I can't believe it worked! Gordon! The bridge! Get clear! Gordon! Can you hear me? Are you alright? I'm fine. Yourself? All good. Skarloey, you are an utter genius! Never again will I doubt the worth of narrow gauge engines. Well, thank you, Gordon. I'm amazed that worked, to be honest. I thought for sure the bridge would have collapsed no matter what you did. Perhaps you should have kept that to yourself, Skarloey. Oh, right. Sorry. The alarm was quickly raised and all trains were brought to a stop. I was at Wellsworth when this order came through, and a delay was the last thing I wanted. Oh, what now? It's clearly some kind of emergency, Edward. That's apparent, Harry. Did the station master say what? No, but there's no sense in griping about since it's beyond our control. I suppose. Still, I really don't need this today. Afternoon, Edward. Oh, hello, Vicar. How are you? Very well, as I just received some wonderful news. Do tell. With the scrapyard moving, the owners have decided to donate their lands to the church, meaning my vicarage has doubled in size as a result. Really? That's wonderful. What a generous offer. You're absolutely right. They'll be in my prayers for the longest of times. Still, I'm a little curious as to how we're going to maintain so much land. Vicar, I might be able to help you with that. Okay, almost there. Just a little. Whew. There we are, Thomas. All good. Thanks, Percy. I must say you're heavier than you look. Oh, thanks. Sorry, I didn't mean... It's fine, Percy. I'm fine. I'll tell you what, you can be sure Gordon would never do this sort of thing. Wouldn't dare want to run the risk of scuffing up his buffers and all. Yeah, he always seems to take it nice and easy, doesn't he? What wasn't nice and easy was the investigation Mickey launched into the bridge's collapse, the cause of which was determined to be a fault in its design, so Lily was absolved of any wrongdoing. Even so, the local council was reluctant to hand the repair contract to the middies. I don't think Mr. Starr had ever worked so little to ever gain a contract. I'm sure it'll come as no surprise that my solution to the vicar's problem was Trevor. The vicar did indeed purchase him at auction, and for a bargain price. The kindly traction engine soon found himself on Sodor and the vicarage, where he worked tirelessly to maintain its grounds and provide entertainment during fetes. He and I saw one another almost every day afterwards, which suits me just fine. I would consider myself to be a very easygoing engine, but there are things that I hate, winter being one of them.
No, it's not because I'm a Christmas Grinch, it's because this snowbound season brings with it a whole host of problems. Ports will often shut down due to ice-covered waters, so a railway loses out on its transportation contracts. A great many mining-based industries will sometimes close for the season, so we're denied those jobs as well. Finally, there's the snow itself. Whenever there's a heavy downpour of the stuff, sidings may become blocked and main lines obstructed. This will often lead to cancelled trains. Mickey does his best to keep the tracks free of snow, with the rest of us offering our assistance by taking up our cumbersome ploughs. But of every engine on Sodor, there were two in particular who excelled at clearing snow. In their pre-LMS days, Donald and Douglas worked on the Caledonian Railway in Scotland. To hear them tell it, the snowdrifts there were 30 feet deep, meaning it was child's play for them to clear the ones on Sodor even during so-called bad periods. Thanks to their tireless efforts, many yards were cleared and many engines pulled from a snowy situation. In December of 1937, the pair were called to the scene of a rather heavy drift.
Good grief! What is it, Dougie? We got ourselves a doozy here, Donny. A bonny pile of snow, have we? Nothing we can't handle, I'm sure. I never said I was worried, only that I'm impressed. Did Mickey want us to wait until he got here? Nay, he said to make a start so we... Wait, what was that? I'm not sure. It sounded like a whistle. There it is again. Oi, who's there? Douglas, is that you? Ugh, goodness sake, Donald, it's Henry. Henry, are you alright? I've been better. By oath, am I glad you're here. How long have you been stuck there? I don't know. Is it still 1937? Don't fret, Henry. Wait a while. We'll get you out. Wait a while. Are you being clever? Oh, sorry. Poor choice of words.
It took the rest of the day for the two middies to dig Henry out of that drift, with Mickey commending them for their excellent work. After a quick inspection, our number 3 was deemed to be in perfect working order. All the same, Mickey gave him a helping buffer. By the time he returned to Knapford, night had fallen.
Well, you certainly had an interesting run of things lately, Henry. Aye, first flat tyres, then a snowdrift. Maybe I'll run into an elephant next.
I don't think that's very likely, Henry.
You never know. We've had a lot of snowfall this year. Yeah, I don't much like it either, as it always reminds me of Arthur. Who? Arthur? I've told you about him, haven't I? No, I've never heard of this Arthur either.
Me neither.
Do you lads want to hear about him? Are you sure, Edward? We're not going to change history by ignoring it, Toby. Did this Arthur do something wrong? Oh yes, he did. And this was the story I told. Arthur was a mixed traffic engine for the middies, one of their earliest additions when they first came to Sodor. Without question, he was the most boastful engine I had ever known. He was forever prattling on about his spotless record, how he had never once been late. What made it worse was that it was true. Somehow, he always delivered his trains on time and without failure. He was also never shy about calling out those engines who were late, even if they were on his own crew. Unfortunately, this pride was what led to his downfall. It was late one night in the winter of 1923 when he had to take an express train. He had suffered a delay and couldn't get out of the station quick enough when he was finally allowed to leave. Eager to make up for lost time, desperate to preserve his spotless record, he tore down the line at a criminally reckless speed. This, combined with the poor visibility, the icy rails and the steep descent of Gordon's Hill, it was small wonder what happened next. He crashed? Came right off the rails. He and his coaches rolled almost 100 yards before stopping, but that wasn't the worst of it. What could be worse? Every single one of his passengers were killed. What about Arthur? What happened to him? He was scrapped. The impact killed him instantly and turned his body into a mangled heap of metal that barely resembled an engine, and it didn't end there either.
What do you mean?
Come now, Thomas, you don't really believe that. How many people have seen it, Edward? How many? They can't all be wrong. They can't all be right either. What are you talking about? It's reckoned every year on the anniversary of Arthur's death that his ghost appears, hoping desperately to reach its destination so he and the tormented souls of his victims can finally be at peace. Ghosts? I've been on this island near 20 years and I've never seen one. Thank you, Henry. Just out of curiosity, when? Next week. So look out. Thomas, stop going on about nonsense, please.
So, you don't believe in ghosts, Edward?
No, I don't.
and until I see one for myself, I'll remain a skeptic. Now, I'm going to sleep. Good night, lads. Of course, having told that story, I didn't sleep well, and neither did anyone else. As I said before, winter was a time when Sodor's various industries closed for the season, with one noticeable exception: coal. Without this black, dirty stuff, industry would grind to a halt. Winter didn't impede its importance either, with long train loads filled with the material being delivered to power plants and the like. But for such a vital industry, I'm sorry to say the Marston Heights coal mine on Sodor was very inefficient. This was because the mine didn't have its own shunter, and this was because its owner, Franklin Merv, was something of a penny pincher who calculated it was cheaper to pay a shunting fee than to keep an on-site engine. This was a poor arrangement, as we often argued with the middies over who got to use the chutes first, with the trucks being left everywhere. It finally got so bad that the board forced Mr. Merv's hand and purchased an engine. On the day she arrived at the mine, she would find Diesel and Thomas arguing by the chutes. "For the last time, Diesel, no! You've been holding up all the tracks since I arrived. That's because I need to fill a big order of coal. You can check with Mr. Merv." "Well, shake a wheel then. I've got to take a shipment of my own back to Brenham, or else the others won't be able to move come tomorrow." "I fail to see the problem then." You know, it's too bad an engine can't run on cheek. You'd never need a top up on coal otherwise." "Well, it's lucky you're not fueled by deviousness. Your petrol tank would burst if it did." "You little..."
Oi! What's going on here?
Who are you?
I'm Kate, the new shunter.
A little engine like you? Pull the other one.
Looking at you, it's no wonder I'm needed.
Where do you get off making that crack?
If you've been the mine shunter up till now, I'm amazed it hasn't closed.
First off, I'm not the shunter. And second, is that any way for a lady to talk?
You tell me, mate.
Shut it, Thomas. You lot too.
All right, I'm done wasting time with you. How about you clear off and let a real engine take over?
Grrr.
Well, that was beautifully handled. Nicely done. Thanks. I'm used to dealing with engines like him. Sorry to say, he's not the only one on this island. I'm sure I'll manage. So, are you the mine shunter? Because what I said before... No. I'm Thomas. I work for the LNER as a shunter. Oh, nice to meet you. So, the board's finally purchased an engine, eh? Thank goodness for that. This place needs to be put in order on the double. Then I may as well get started. What needs doing first? Well, you could move those trucks Diesel just left there. No worries. Hang about. I thought you said your name was Kate. So why does my nameplate say lady? I take it you get asked that a lot. I do. Can't say I blame anyone for it. It's actually a commemorative plate dedicated to the late wife of the nobleman who built me. Oh, that was sweet. He was a good man, and she was a good woman. Anyway, enough of this. There's work that needs doing. Huh, I like you. And it wasn't long before everyone else came to like her too. Kate quickly made the mine her own. She took care of all inbound and outbound trains, implementing a very efficient system that appeased middies and nor'easters alike. Thanks to her, every coal shipment was organised and dispatched in a timely manner. One of these deliveries, Percy was to make to Kildane. Setting out late in the afternoon, night had fallen by the time he reached Wellsworth. That was where it happened. Whose whistle is that? Bust my buffers! What a silly twit to tear down the hill like that in this weather! Oh my goodness! Jerry, did that sound like a train crash? It most certainly did. It was a passenger train too. We need to get down there, and fast. What? Where is it? I don't know. You did hear the crash, right? By oath I did. Angus, you saw a train go by, didn't you? I did. There's no rubble anywhere. No sign of a crash at all. Maybe we heard wrong. We all heard wrong the sound of a train crash? That sounds unlikely. What other explanation could there be? What's wrong, Percy? Maybe it was Arthur's ghost. Thomas said this was around the time he starts appearing. Come on, Percy, you're being ridiculous. I wish I could have agreed with that statement, I really do. But the nearby residents also heard the crash and turned out in droves to see it and were confused when they didn't find anything. This oddity attracted the attention of a reporter who, after conducting interviews and some research, published an article about Arthur's death and the ghost story that went with it. After the story broke, there was a spike in the number of alleged sightings up and down the line. Throughout this time, I remained skeptical, convinced these sightings were merely the power of suggestion. That was until my encounter. So, my son's back from his trip to the United States. Really? Already? That went by quick. Did he enjoy it? Very much so. He said it's nothing like anything here in Britain. The cities, the lifestyle, and the films. He went to the premiere of an animated picture and can't stop raving about it. What was it called? Let me think. I forget. But I do remember it had the word 7 dwarfs in it somewhere. 7 dwarfs? Sounds a little odd to me. Me too. But what do I know about the cinema? Definitely more than me. Who was that? I don't know. Huh, that's odd. I thought Reginald was due in. He was. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Excuse me, you're not on the schedule. Who gave you clearance to stop here? I'm talking to you, mate. Unfortunately, I wouldn't have been able to help as the engine was faceless, meaning talking to it would have been like talking to a wall. I will say there was something very unsettling about that train. Alright, I'm ordering you to get out of your engine. I must warn you, failure to comply with the orders of a railway official may result in... That chilling scream came from the woman who dared to press her face to the shadowy window of one of those coaches. Whatever it was she saw, she became hysterical and turned as white as the snow around us. Her shriek ensured those passengers on the platform jumped back 10 feet, with no one daring to get any closer. I admit I was scared witless by this event, which quickly worsened. Reginald! Look out! Oh no! Reginald? Reginald! Are you alright? Bust my buffers. I better go see if he's okay. Reginald? There was a train at the platform, wasn't there? Yes, there was. And then there wasn't? That's right. How? I don't know how, Reginald. Did we just see a ghost, Edward? We must have. So it's true. Arthur's ghost haunts the line. I can't think of anything else. I owe Thomas an apology. I'm sorry to say the incident would make the papers, the story made all the more tragic by the sad fact the woman from that night was committed to an insane asylum. Business dropped dramatically for both companies as our passengers avoided us like the plague, as did our goods clients. Other engines also encountered the ghost train, causing a widespread dip in morale. The situation finally became unbearable, forcing some of us to come together to discuss a solution. Alright, so we all know why we're here. Now, Edward, why don't you remind us? Put a sock in it, Diesel. Thank you, Douglas. Now this ghost has been terrorizing the line and we need to find a way to get rid of it. I realize this is a unique situation, meaning as far as I'm concerned, there are no foolish ideas. If you have one, put it forward. How about getting the vicar to perform an exorcist? I checked, he doesn't do exorcists. What about Wilbert? When is he meant to be coming back to Sodor? I don't know. Whenever it will be, we can't afford to wait for him. Could we try talking to it? Maybe ask Arthur to leave? About that, Percy, the ghost you saw, what did it look like? Big? Silver? With red stripes and a number 0 on its side tanks. Really? That was the train you saw? Yes, why? That doesn't sound like Arthur to me, because it wasn't Arthur. Well, what do you mean? Arthur was a big red engine, Percy, with the letters LMS on his side tanks. The engine I saw at Marin did not match that description.
Does that mean we have 2 ghosts on the island? No, Peter. 1 ghost of unknown origin. Can we be so sure it isn't Arthur? The night I saw him, I did hear a crash at the bottom of the hill, and the engine I saw was pulling MIDI coaches. It can't be a coincidence. So, no, Toby. I guess we can't be sure it isn't Arthur. But if it is, why would he look different as a ghost? That doesn't make sense. We're dealing with the supernatural, Diesel. I doubt anything makes sense where that's concerned. I hate to be the naysayer of the group, but we still haven't thought up how we're going to get rid of the thing. I wouldn't say that. You have an idea, Toby? Maybe. Percy, you said you heard the crash, right? Yes. Well, that tells me he's doomed to repeat his fate. Maybe we can send him away by interrupting this process. How? By telling him he doesn't need to take his coaches. We need to find someone whom Arthur would take orders from. Maybe even someone who was around when he had his accident. But that can only be one person.
There is no way he is going to go for that. Are you out of your blooming mind? Told you.
Mr. Zorro, please, if you'll just let me explain.
What's there to explain, Toby? You want me to tell the ghost of one of my engines who's been dead for the better part of 20 years to leave the island on the vague assumption he'll do so?
Arthur always did strive to make you happy, sir.
Perhaps that's one of the reasons why he crashed. What do you mean, sir? I cultivated his ego. I praised him whenever he delivered his trains on time. He was probably trying to please me the night he was killed, which is why I am so unwilling to speak to him. You think he might be holding a grudge against you? Exactly! Maybe he holds me responsible for his fate. What if he tries to take me or something? With respect, sir, don't you think you should at least try? If you don't and things keep going the way they do, we'll all be out of a job. Alright, I'll do it.
Really, sir?
Diesel's right. As director, I have an obligation to try and keep my business solvent. Oh, thank you, sir. And thank you, Diesel. Don't thank me, Toby. I didn't expect that to work.
How are you feeling, Mr. Zorro?
I'm not just shaking because it's cold, Toby.
We really appreciate what you're doing, sir.
Yes. Just don't go blabbing about it to Mr. Starr. I wouldn't want him to think I'm nice, or worse, amiable.
Perish the thought, sir. Is everything in place, Diesel?
Yep, the station's been cleared and Mickey's on standby.
I don't see how much help I'm going to be.
You never know, Chief. The station. I wonder if a railway facility anywhere in the world at any point in time has ever been evacuated because of ghosts.
This is certainly a way to leave your mark in history, then.
Yeah, triumphs and blunders, the 2 biggest things people remember.
Diesel, all right, I'll belt up. But before I do, can I ask something?
What? What if the ghost doesn't show up tonight?
We're not that lucky, old chap.
Oh, my. It's up to you now, sir. Good luck. Hello? Arthur? Is that you? Well, you're probably wondering why I'm here. I, have good news. I was finally able to get hold of an express engine, so I don't need you to take this train on. You've done very well and can rest easy. Don't you understand? You can go.
Did it work?
Well done, Mr. Zorro. I can't believe it. Me neither, to be honest. Jolly good work, Toby. If we all had your insight, this would be a much better world. Thank you, Edward. I still can't believe it worked. And for the longest time afterwards, neither could anyone else. The relief we all felt was intense. Life gradually returned to normal on Sodor. As time went by, the story of Arthur's ghost was told over and over again, fading from history into folklore and then into legend. But it will always be real to those of us who were there. And while we never saw Arthur's ghost again, who's to say that we won't?